it's Jacob. In this one, I want to break down for you a very, very simple guide that anybody can follow to use the internet in 2025 and beyond to create cash flow, ultimately build wealth, and above all else, create freedom in your life. Okay, now, these aren't just 8 steps that I've pulled out of thin air or got AI to give me. These are 8 steps that, sitting here now, having been in this online game full time since 2018, these are the 8 steps that I followed to start, to grow my business, to build my own investment portfolio, and ultimately create a life that, honestly, I wake up and pinch myself each day that I get to live. Okay, and so I'm sitting here recording this with real world experience that this is literally the 8 steps that I followed. Okay, now before we dive into this, within each step, your path, person number 3 watching this, person number 48 watching this, within each step there's going to be nuances to the journey that you take. Within each step, the timelines are going to vary. But what I wanted to give you today is a ironclad roadmap, a set of bumpers to follow, so you can look at where you're at and look at ultimately, okay, this is coming up next. This is what I need to be thinking about now. This is what I need to be thinking about next. Have I considered A, B, C, and D? This could be a roadmap for the next 10 years if you really want to take it and run with it. I'm going to show you the things that I did in different phases, and I'm going to ultimately show you where I am now in this plan. Okay, so with all that said, let's dive into this one. If at any point throughout this video you consider it to be valuable, I'd appreciate if you could give the video a like. It helps get the content out to more people and tells me that you want me to make more videos like this one. Okay, so let's dive in. If you aren't familiar, a little bit about my backstory. Photo on the left is taken at the top of the Rockefeller Center in New York. That little red arrow that's pointing to, that was the office that I worked out of. I was very entrenched in the corporate matrix, and I talk about it like that, but I did enjoy it, and it taught me a lot. But I tell you that to put on the table that if I can break out of that pathway, I think this is pretty much possible for anybody. On the right is the balcony at my apartment where I live now, and it's a beautiful spot, and I love it. And it's been a wild journey to go from that left-hand photo to that right-hand photo, but that's what we're going to walk through in this one today, right? And as I said off the top, this is the exact path that I followed to go full-time online, to build the life that I've got now, and now I get to map out my calendar and do exactly what I want, work with who I want to, explore the projects that I want to, look at the investments that I want to look at, travel when I want to travel, all this kind of stuff, live where I want to live, all these kind of things come off the back of this 8-step plan that I'm going to walk through with you today. Okay, I believe that anyone can follow this path with hard work, resourcefulness, and resilience. Resilience being key, because business and trying to do something that the majority of people simply will not do, you're going to get kicked in the head a few times, and so you will need to be resilient. When we zoom out and look at these high level things, it's important to remember that the day to day, you are still in it, in the trenches, building. Shit goes wrong, problems pop up. That's business, that's life, and we just have to not only accept it, but we've got to find a way to thrive on it. And I think when you see this big picture, you'll start to think that way too. Okay, really, really key point before we get into the steps is do not skip any of these steps. I think they're each critical, and are in the critical place that they need to be as part of the overall process. Each person will take a different amount of time on each step. I mentioned that, and be critical. Do not rush the process. Where the next person next to you is at, it doesn't matter. How quickly they move through things, it doesn't matter. This is an individual journey for every person that decides to embark down this path. Okay, and as we're going through this, I got 2 bonuses in here for you. The first one is what I call my ETM content model. This is a content framework that I've developed after selling millions and millions and millions of dollars online. It's a framework that can be applied to any platform that you decide to create content on. It's the fundamentals of what creates content that cash flows. in a nutshell. Okay. And then the second one, towards the end of the video, I'm going to share with you what I call my digital wealth flywheel. This is the model behind everything that I do. So you see me talking about coaching, consulting, and online business. There's a whole nother level and a whole nother game above that. That's what's really going on longer term, and I'm going to share that with you towards the end of the video as well. So make sure you stick with me through this entire video so that you don't miss those two resources and trainings within what we're going to cover today. Okay, so let's get started. Step number one, very simple. You must solve a problem. Okay, there's two ways that we can tackle this. The first is that you sit down, you get a notebook, and you look at your life and you go, what are the problems that I've solved for myself? Or what are the problems that I've helped somebody else solve? Or what are the adverse experiences or challenging experiences that I've been through that I've come out the other side? Because if you've been through that, there's a very, very real chance that somebody else is going through it and could use your assistance. So you either identify a problem, or if you can't identify something that you can help people solve, or your skills aren't something that you want to carry into an online business, which I'm going to talk about in a second, you're going to have to go out and develop a new skill set. You're going to have to do something cool, do something different, figure out how to solve a problem for yourself or for somebody else, and then that will become the catalyst for the rest of the process here. Okay, so once you've got a problem that you are confident that you can help people solve, then you need to get really clear on the method or the process to solve it. You need to commit yourself to deeply understanding where the people who have that problem are right now. You need to become borderline obsessed and deeply understand where they want to go, and then simplify your process down to 3 to 5 key steps. Okay, so to give you a real world example of this, when I came online, I had a lot of experience. I'd made it to the peak of the finance world, working in New York, like that photo I showed you before, but I didn't want to bring this online. I didn't want to continue with that path. And so I needed to go out and, as I've said on the right-hand side here, I needed to develop a skill. And so I went deep into the world of affiliate marketing, right? This is something that a lot of people try and very few people do well, but I managed to crack it. I figured it out. I won a bunch of awards. I was able to travel the world, and that became the thing that I could help people solve. Okay, that was ultimately what I created my first coaching offer off the back of, that went to 7 figures very, very quickly. Okay, and just as a little side point, I haven't got this in the slides, but the way I simplified that down to 3 to 5 points is I built a 4-part framework. It was called the Mocha Blueprint: mindset, offer, conversion, and audience. They're the 4 parts that you need to have dialed in if you want to crush it with affiliate marketing. So this is exactly what I did. I didn't have that I could bring to market just yet, or that I wanted to bring to market. And so I went out and I did something that not a lot of people have done. I became a super affiliate. I won a lot of awards. And naturally, the next step became, well, how did you do that? Okay. And so I got a really deep understanding of where those people are at now, got a really deep understanding of where they wanted to go, and I simplified it down to a 4-part framework. Okay. That is the very, very first step. Everything you do hereafter will be built off this. So you either need to sit down and figure out what is a problem that you've solved for yourself, what is a problem that you've solved for somebody else, or what is a experience that you've gone through and come out the other side that you think would be valuable for other people, right? Or you've got to go develop that. That's step number 1 that you must do, okay? Once we've done that, now we need to start building your name in the market, right? We are in the age of personal brands. Building my personal brand. I don't have a big brand. I've probably got 30,000 people in total across like all platforms, but I've built a very, very profitable personal brand. But it's one of the best things that I've ever done. I love it. It's so enjoyable to be able to share this journey with people. You meet some amazing people. Yes, there's some dickheads who leave hate comments. Yes, there's some trolls out there, but fuck them. Who cares? Just keep going. It's an absolute blast 99% of the time. Okay, so we need to start building your name, and we're going to build your name around that problem that we identified in step 1. Okay, and here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to pause on those first 2 points because we're going to circle back to that. I want you to pick one active social media platform. Just choose the one that you're already most active on. That's either going to be Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or X/Twitter. Okay, this is where we start first because we can very aggressively grow. Right now, I'm not going to give you a deep dive into how to grow on each of those. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there about how to do it, or go buy a course, right? The next step beyond that, once you've mastered it, because it'll probably take longer, but once you've got a clear plan each day on how you can get more people following you on the platform, you've got some engagement happening, and it's starting to become second nature, then we want to add on a second platform, which is a longer form content platform. That's either going to be YouTube, a podcast, or a blog / a long form writing platform like Substack. The reason we do this is because in order for us to build deeper relationships with our audience, we need to create some form of longer content for them to watch, listen to, read, and get to know us and what we do better. Okay, so that's the second step when it comes to creating content. Then ultimately, off the back of those two things, we want to be building two lists. We want to be building an email list, and we want to be building a DM pipeline of the people who follow us on the platform, like our content, engage with our content, comment on our content, watch our videos, listen to our podcasts, read our blogs, all these kind of things. We want to be bringing these people into that next layer in a DM list and an email list, because this is where conversion is ultimately going to happen. Okay. Little pause here, talking about content. So this is these first 2 points: documenting daily life, insights, sharing stories, tips, tricks, strategies, all that kind of shit, right? This is my content framework that's made me millions and millions and millions of dollars, all boiled down into a beautiful little 3-part framework. Okay. I'm going to attempt to succinctly explain this. So most people are pretty good at the circle on the right. They're not that bad at explaining what they do. They can share their experience. They can talk about the results they've got, their clients have got. They can talk about their skills and their talents. They can talk about their intellectual property and the models and these things that they've developed. Most people are pretty good at that. Where most people fall down is this left-hand side and the circle down the bottom. Okay, so that's where I'm going to spend the majority of the time. But just understand that you need all three of these in place for content to really, really cash flow. All right. If you only create what you do content, you will make money, but it will be a very small percentage relative to what you could be making, simply because people will say, I like what they do, I know what they do, but I just don't connect with them. And unless the thing that you do is truly one of a kind, which is very, very rare in a practical sense, they're going to go with the person that they connect with more on an individual, personal basis. Is just the way that it works. And that's even if that person costs 5 times as much. Okay, now we need to be equally cautious, because if we only create who you are content, which is where you share your lifestyle, your values, your beliefs, your vision for what you're building, your principles, your values, all this kind of stuff, if you only create that content and you're light on the what you do, again, you'll still make money, because there'll be people who connect with you, they align with you, but they'll go, I just don't fully understand what you do or how you can help me or the problems you can help me solve. And so you'll miss out on a big chunk of people who'll go somewhere else because you're not ticking that box. Okay, so we need to have both of those things in place. A few more comments on the who you are. When I do kickoff calls with new clients at whatever level that may be, 80% plus of the time, in the first 5 minutes of the call, they say to me, Jacob, the reason I'm here is because I really resonate with your values, principles, beliefs, thoughts around building a lean and simple online business, around being able to spend time with your family, around having a clear calendar, around not doing sales calls, insert blank, 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 blank. I've developed a very clear brand about what's important to me and why I do things the way I do them. It gives context to the strategy. That is why 8 out of 10 people are there. Then we get into strategies and tactics. So if you don't let people into who you are beyond the somewhat sterile problem-solving piece, you're going to be leaving a lot of money on the table. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that's crystal clear. All right, now, the final circle, the prospect's journey. Those top 2, we can control those. That's just what we put out into the world. That's the content that we share. This third one is not directly in our control. We can stack the deck, so to speak, but this is the timeline that each one of the individual people in your ecosystem following your content is on relative to the problems they want to solve, the goals that they have. Okay. So if you imagine this is you, straight line, creating your content, running your business. This is one of your prospects. You're in this dynamic with every single one of them. Okay. They may not be ready right now. That's why you create YouTube videos. That's why you create a podcast. That's why you create long form articles, so that people have things to watch and listen to while they get ready, while they think about it, while they compare you to other people, all these natural things that happen. Okay. Now, here's what people miss. They assume incorrectly, through lack of experience, through poor advice and strategic mentorship, whatever it may be, through laziness, they assume that if someone doesn't buy from them in a short period of time, that lead is dead. Okay, I sign up new clients every month who have followed me for years and years and years and years. Their timing hadn't aligned yet. That is why, right? Now, if we imagine these two lines again, if this person's timeline is moving along, and for a little while I'm moving with them through the content that I share consistently, but then I stop, their timeline keeps going, and then they go, oh, I'm ready now. Where's Jacob? He's not there. So they go pay someone else. You rerun that scenario. I keep creating my content. I'm omnipresent. I'm everywhere. I'm running remarketing ads. I'm sending emails. I'm doing my posts. And I'm still there. I'm still there. I'm still there. We could be 2 years down the track and they go, oh, I'm ready. Jacob's there. I get paid. That's how it works. So the biggest lever that you've got in optimizing for the prospect's journey is consistency, omnipresence, and continuing to make offers. Because ultimately, if you do that every day, there will come a time where you make the right offer to the right person at the right time, and they will convert. I literally did a kickoff call with a lady last week who's been on my list since 2019. 2019. I just have not stopped. Every day. Okay? So these are the 3 key elements I want you thinking about when it comes to creating your content. Sharing with people who you are, sharing with people what you do, and sharing it so ruthlessly, consistently, and truly creating this ecosystem experience such that when they're ready, you're the only option because you've been there the entire time and you're still there now, ready to go. Okay, that's a little sidetrack. I've got a workshop on my website about this if you want to spend 2 hours going really, really deep on it. Okay, jacobcaris.com. On to step number 3. All right, so remember, step number 2 is we're building your name using that model. Now we're into monetize. Okay, now there's not one set period of time of like, well, you should build your name for this long before monetizing. I think you could probably start doing 2 and 3 together at a very, very similar time. Depending on the individual situation, we'd need to talk about it. Okay, but the next thing we need to do is start monetizing, right? Now, what we want to do is we want to get people to start paying us to solve that problem with them. Okay, we've started helping them through our content, but the people that want personalization, customization, they're handheld while they implement further strategy, more advanced stuff, etc., they're the ones that are going to pay you. Okay, now, here's what always comes up when we start with this is, well, I don't want to do this, or this because it's not scalable. Don't worry about scalable right now. Worry about getting some testimonials and starting to work with people. Okay, and we do this, the easiest way to do this is one-to-one. Okay, and even if you have to do it free at first, if necessary, that's fine. You can gradually increase your prices over time. The key is to start working with people, start helping them solve whatever problem it is that you landed on in step 1 and get moving. Okay, then over time, you can increase your prices. You can add group offerings to build in more leverage and reduce your time per client. And you can start to bolt on fully do-it-yourself solutions, aka pure information products, where your time isn't attached to your income in any way. Ultimately, you'll probably end up with a suite that has all 3. You'll have do-it-yourself, done with you, and one-to-one. And then you may even do done for you with an agency structure on the back end eventually. Okay, so we want to build down from least leverage to most leverage, ideally. Okay, just to give you a little example of this, when I first got started helping others, once I was getting some experience under my belt in the affiliate space, I told people they could text me, message me on Facebook as much as they wanted month to month if they bought a ClickFunnels account, like a little software account, through my affiliate link, because that's what I was trying to grow at the time. I made $38.80 per month per person. Now I charge $1,000 an hour for a Zoom call, thousands a month for DM access, that kind of stuff, right? But start somewhere, increase your value by getting better and better, more and more proof, refining your methods, then increase your prices. This is the path. Okay, so now we're really starting to get into motion. We've got a business off the ground at this point. Our brand is growing. We're helping people solve a clear problem, right? We're starting to make some money. This is where we don't want to pull money out of the business because it's like a fire and oxygen. If we pull the money out, we're gonna choke the fire. Okay, so at this point, we want to be reinvesting the money back into the business, back into education, back into brand growth, be that through ads or other strategies, expanding your audience, building your network, ultimately reinvesting in things that will allow you to generate more cash flow in the short to medium term. Okay, very, very simple. Don't stress about, I've got an extra 10 grand. Should I go and buy Ethereum? Fuck that. Put it back in the business. It's going to get you the best ROI. We keep doing that until it gets to a point where business costs are well and truly covered. Lifestyle costs are well and truly covered. There's a contingency / provision to be able to invest in new things and keep growing the business so we're not choking out the fire. When it gets to a point where there's so much excess cash flow that it doesn't make sense to keep putting it all back in, this is where we're starting to evolve into the next phase of the model. We're in step 5 here, extract and compound. So this is where we're going to actually start pulling money out of the business and putting it into more traditional investments. Okay, now I'm not going to give you any financial advice here. What you do is entirely up to you, but this is where I would recommend that you start building up an investment portfolio. This is where you go from just being a business owner or an entrepreneur to what I would call a money multiplier. You've got your business making you money, and then you're making the money make more money. That's how that works. Okay, so here we want our business to fuel the investments, and then we're building this investment portfolio. We're becoming more educated. We're learning more and more about different investments, and this is new lessons and knowledge and experience and resources. Start putting that all back into your business in terms of making the business better, and where relevant, put it back into your content. Okay, so now we've really got two pieces. We've got the cash flow business, and we're building the longer term wealth strategy, which is ultimately going to give us freedom for the long term. Okay. Now, the timeline to get to point 6 here, or step 6, is going to vary wildly person to person. Okay, so for me, when I got up to step 6 here, where I'm talking about going broader with your brand, this for me was around 2021. So I'd been full-time for 3.5 years. At this point, I'd started online back in early 2017. So we're really talking about like 4.5 years into the journey. Okay, so at this point, I'd been deep in the affiliate world for that 4.5 year period. I'd learned so much. I'd changed so much as a person. I'd done a ton of cool shit. I'd traveled the world. I'd won all these awards. I'd built a 7-figure coaching offer. I was like getting itchy to go and talk about different things, to share all this cool shit that I'd learned, to expand the message. Right? I needed my brand and the business to evolve with me. This is a point now where you can start to think about doing that. Okay, you can start to evolve your brand. You can start to take on different clients, start talking about solving different problems. Here's where it really starts to depend on the individual situation. This may mean letting go of old offers, or you may be able to dual track them for a while. I was able to dual track it for a while. But you can start solving new problems, and you really want to realign your brand with who you are now, because you may have outgrown where you started depending on how long the timeline is. Okay, but this is your permission at this point to scratch the itch and go broader. Okay, start talking about all those new lessons that you've picked up along the way, because if you've made it this far, your life is looking ridiculously different to what it did at step 6. Okay, and if you cross-reference this path against a lot of big names in the industry, you're going to see some commonalities. This is developed through me doing this step by step and studying what a lot of people have done who were and are ahead of me. Okay, so for me, I went from being an affiliate to helping folks with their affiliate business, to then building a 7-figure info business. And then I had all these people banging down my door going, how the fuck did you do that? And so that's what I started helping people with next, because that was the next natural step. This is after years in the trenches, right? This was the next step, not someone who starts a business going, here's how to sell a course, and they've never sold anything. Like, I became a super affiliate, then I helped people with that, then I sold 7 figures in my own info products, develop my own strategies. Then I started helping people do that. It's a natural and organic evolution. Okay, and that's still what I do day to day, but I've taken the brand even a bit broader now, where I talk about more general business. I talk a little bit about investing. I talk about lifestyle design, because that's something that's really important to me, especially becoming a dad in the last 16, 17 months. So the brand will continue to evolve as your life changes and evolves. And at this point, you've got some flexibility to start integrating that growth. Okay. Now, step 7. This is really what we've been building towards, and this is where I'm going to talk to you about the digital wealth flywheel, because this is cool. If you take nothing else, if you're still watching this video, well done to you, because most people would have dropped off by now. That's how YouTube works. If you take nothing else from this video, take a screenshot of the model that I'm about to share with you and put it on your wall, because this is the game. This is after millions in sales, years in the game, studying people, spending a shitload of money. This is the game, okay? You've got the trifecta, right? You've got the trifecta. You've got the strong personal brand, you've got a cash flowing online business, and you're growing an investment portfolio. You're now in a position where everything feeds everything, like we spoke about before, right? Your business and your investments and your brand, they're all interconnected, and your lifestyle, they're all interconnected. All right, you've activated what I call the digital wealth flywheel, and that's what I want to talk to you about here, okay? This may look basic and crude, but this is years of refining and changing and developing this model over time. Okay, so if we look at this, there's 3 main components, and then there's a 4th subcomponent. All right, the 3 main components are the brand, the business on the left, and the investments on the right. The reason that all these arrows go back and forth is because all these things are interconnected, and then they're linked in the middle with what is a lifestyle play ultimately. Okay, so let's just run a couple of variations here, right? The more my business makes on the left-hand side, the more my investments grow. The more my investments grow, the more I learn. That gives me more content to share through my brand, all right? Let's run it in a different direction. The more my brand grows, the more my investments grow, because new opportunities pop up and I'm making more money from the business, and then the portfolio grows, and then it goes back the other way, because again, I'm learning more lessons. Okay. Then we look at this piece in the middle, where the more the brand grows, the more I get to travel, the more I get to speak, the more events I go to, the more networking events I go to, the more masterminds I go to, the more of those I go to, the more investment opportunities that pop up, the more my business grows. Everything is interconnected, and is very closely aligned to an amazing life, because you get to travel and speak and go to events and meet awesome people. You get to work on cool projects with people that you want to work on. You get to make your money make money. And at the top, you get to document the whole journey along the way. This is the game. You've arrived at this point. Okay. I can go deeper on this. You can DM me if I've got an hour-long training where I go deeper into this model. You can DM me on socials if you want that. But this is the North Star. Build towards this. And so you can see piece by piece how we've arrived here. We started with the brand and the business. We added on the investments. We've gone a bit broader, which gives us capacity to integrate these learnings, and it all starts to feed each other. All right. Step 8. Live your best life. I need some water. You're now in a position where you get to share the journey, help other people, work on cool projects, build your empire, become a better leader, become a better person, make the lives better of the people around you, your friends, your family, the people in your audience, through the value that you share, which is what I'm trying to do right now through this free content. You're really in a very, very fortunate position. As far as I'm concerned, when you reach this point, and this is the level that I consider myself at in this game now, this is pretty much retirement. Because there's a few ways that you can retire. You can make a whole bunch of money such that you never have to work again. You can cut your living costs down to nothing and go off the grid. Or you can build a life and a business where you only work on stuff that you want to work on, and you do things that you want to do. And if you align with this message and you align with this model, when you arrive here and you've got this built out, you're pretty much there. It's not always going to be perfect. Yes, there's going to be shitty days. There always is. But this is pretty much as good as it gets. You get to share the journey with people. You get to travel. You get to share the journey with people. You get to travel. You get to meet amazing people. You get to create. You get to coach the people you want to coach. You get to mentor people. You get to invest and manage your money and learn cool shit and watch your money make one. It's the best. Okay, that's why I'm saying make this your North Star. Okay. Few final thoughts. I believe that anybody, I said this at the top, I'm going to repeat it. I believe that anybody can follow this path if they make the decision to start and stick with it. That's 8 steps. I don't know how long it's going to take you. I only really feel like in the last probably 12 months, I got to that 8th step, and I've been doing this since 2017. Okay, you may be able to do it a hell of a lot faster. I didn't have this pathway illuminated for me. I had to figure all this out in real time, right? And most of my lessons have come from just being in the trenches and doing shit, right? I say right now that I'm in that step 8 phase with pride, not with ego. It's been an amazing journey. It's been a humbling journey, but it's been so worth it. Okay, if you're still watching this 30-ish minutes in, I'd say there's a very real chance you can bring this to life, because most people have clicked off the video. The significant majority of people have clicked off the video at this point. And there's only one thing left for you to do, and it's to go and execute on it. Bookmark this video so that you can revisit it. Each of these steps needs to be completed sequentially. Don't skip any steps. It'll break. Don't rush it. You're not competing against anybody but yourself. If you move through these steps, you will ultimately land on the business and the lifestyle and the freedom that you want out the other side. Okay? I wish you all the best if you choose to take these 8 steps and run with it. And if at any point I can help, feel free to reach out. I hope, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Cheers.